And, and I love that, self-care, thinking about emotional well-being. Like even just the other day, we were talking about mental health in sports, like with
Yeah.
Naomi Osaka and what she's going through and pushing back on like the interviews, like, nah, I'm not going to subject myself to this
Hmm.
type of, um, detriment to my health, like to this type
Yeah.
of requirements. But like, yes, I know what's required of me to do my job, but actually that's not something that I want to submit myself to. And if we can't work it out, then I'll just remove myself from it.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was like
I
powerful.
it really was like it opened up a lot of conversations, right? I mean, I think
Hmm.
it opened up for me like a lot of discussion around the ways in which we perceive things like depression and anxiety. I
Hmm.
think a lot of times we assume that people who experience, particularly with anxiety, like that, I don't know, that they're going to be jittery, that they can't be successful.
Yeah.
Most of the clients I work with who have pretty significant anxiety are at the top of their game. They
Mm.
are executives, they are award-winning creatives. They like
Hmm.
part of channeling a lot of anxious energy is about being very perfectionistic and working all the time. It's a way to
Yeah.
channel it. And so like
Me.
even that right, exactly.
That's me.
Like you work really hard because it
Yeah.
gives you a place for that. Um, and it's a lot of work to come back to yourself to say, like, there's a better way to take
Mm.
care of myself,
Hmm.
and how other people's perceptions really bump up against us as much as we talk about it, right? I think over the last few years, we've given a lot of lip service to self care and mental health is
Yeah.
important. And
Hmm.
I feel like her situation was such a reminder that while we talk a good game, collectively as a society, we don't actually back up those words in a really consistent way, especially
Yeah.
not in professional settings.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
how many of us would have done that? Would have said, "Oh
Yeah.
man, I really am having some like feelings here about doing this meeting or presentation or what they're asking me to do and what they're asking me to say. Oh, you want me to change my words in this presentation?" I'm like, "Oh, but that's kind of misleading." So it's like how many of us would really push back and say, "I'm not comfortable with this. I'm going to prioritize myself and my health, and I don't think that you can force me to do this." Like, yeah,
Yeah.
we talk a good game, but it's putting action to it and then supporting other people that we see who are taking those
Who are doing
actions.
that, yeah. And
Yeah.
and a reminder too, like you said, like not only how many of us kind of will find the courage to actually speak up and say those things, but then I start to think about like how many other young Black women are in a position in their lives where even if they found the
Yeah.
courage to speak up, if they got pushback from their employer,
Mm.
would be able to say, well, then I need to find another job or I'm going to
Right.
remove myself from this project, right? Like that,
Hmm.
that intersection of sort of being this, I don't even want to say disadvantaged, but like oppressed and marginalized in a systemic way really does eliminate a lot of privilege around if you're worried about your ability to pay your
Yeah.
bills and or leave this job and find another job, like because of these other factors, like that becomes this other layer of not just how do I find the inner strength and courage to speak up for myself, but also in a practical way, can I afford to do that? And I think
Right.
we need to make, like collectively, I always feel like we need to make much more efforts around it's important when you're in a position of leadership to
Right.
make sure that what you say you value is actually backed up in actions in the way you treat, the people who work for you or with you.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, because I mean, leading by example is,
Hmm.
it is a real thing. People are
Yeah.
watching you.